Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought this was a perfect opportunity to make a quick Photoshop tutorial. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. This video is just going to be strictly about using basic knowledge tools that may help you with your edits, skin ads, making or developing skins, uploading Instagram photos, and whatnot. I'm currently using Adobe Photoshop 2021, this version that I applied on the screen. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so what we're gonna start off with is I'm gonna introduce you guys to how to prep your canvas. And so for me, if I were to make a new Instagram edit or a photo that I want to post on Flickr, I would start with pressing new. And then I would already select custom, and within my custom preset details I would make sure that the width is 2048 by 2048. That just seems to be the best quality for width and height when uploading to Instagram. There might be a higher width and height pixel rate, but for right now in this tutorial I'm going to show you by 2048 by 2048. And then depending on the resolution, now this part is a little bit crucial because for resolution, depending on how bad you took the photo, let's say it's a little blurry or you didn't take it clean like this one, for instance, in the background. If you have a photo that's a little bit clear, straightforward in the face, or it's faded, you can always go with just an 80. Or if you feel like it's not that clear of a photo, you can always go with 100. And the reason why I say that is because the resolution will kind of just make it more noisy. And it's a weird way to describe it. It would just make it more high definition. But as you scoop back from it, it would look more like a noisy type of photo, grainy type of photo. And so depending on how well you took your SL photo would dictate how well your edit will come out or ad or whatever you're developing. So, okay, so let's say that you have an up close avatar and you want to take a morphing photo of your face for, let's say, an ad or maybe an edit or who knows. Well, here is what I'm going to do. So usually like I said, I would prep it to 2000 by 48 by 2048, whatever's the highest. In this case, I just uploaded a random photo, which is why mine's is 500 pics by 572. I truly suggest you don't edit a photo that low because it's just not going to render with the quality. But in this case, for video purposes, I'm just going to use it. And so if you're trying to morph any avatar onto a human body or a human body onto an avatar, if you really like your avatar features, is to morph the real person reference onto the avatar and liquefy the features onto your avatar. And so I'm going to get straight into it. So here I have this image of a reference I found on Pinterest. She's just looking straight at the camera and her face is a little bit angled, but it's okay. It's a good example to start off with. And then I have like a regular photo of my avatar looking straight, kind of in the same position as hers. But of course, you know, you can only get as close as you can. So what I usually do is I would hit it at a 49 or a 50. And I would place this image by hitting Control T until majority of her features are lining up with each other. And so once I get to a very close point, then I would put it there. And then if you want to, as you're under the control transformation, you could hit this little button up here, which is like to help you warp it a bit if you want to make it more accurate. The best bet of it all is that if you can get it to as close as the features as possible, liquefying won't be a problem. Liquefying can only help you liquefy to an extent. It won't let you liquefy crazy dramatic features. And so your features have to be close to each other in order for it to be liquefiable. And so after that, after you have your image at 49%, make sure you remember the name because you're going to be using layer 1 as the base and your reference as the overlay. And so you're going to go to filter and there is a liquefy option that you're going to select. It's going to load up into a different screen. And then what's going to happen is it might look all sketchy because of the quality, but it's okay. It's not going to appear on your Photoshop. on your edit. So what you're going to do is, usually I zoom in. Usually I haven't recognized the face that I'm trying to liquefy. So I would hit the face tool. And don't worry about the options right now. As long as it recognizes that I'm doing a face, hit Control Z if you make a mistake. Okay, so I focus down here where it says show backdrop. So where it says show backdrop and it says use, make sure you're selecting layer 1, because that's where we want to morph, again, the reference onto the avatar. And usually, this is the part that kind of throws me off a bit. I will use in front of, and if you need to understand what that means, is that reference of layer 1 is going to be in front of that, and we don't want to do that. So we want to always put behind, because that's what we're going to be adjusting the features onto. So make sure it's always going to be behind, and that your opacity is at around 50%, if not a little lower and a little bit higher, just so you could see where the nose isn't matching. And then you're going to go ahead and hit your warp tool at the corner. And before you hit your warp tool, please use the face tool to kind of adjust it. You can go ahead and move up the lips. You can stretch out the lips, adjust it. And I'm using just my mouse, clicking it with my left clicker just to adjust it. And it would only let me have a certain amount of adjustments before I have to rely on the liquid tool to help me out. So after I get as much as I can, I'm gonna go to my face warp tool, and I always keep it around pressure 100 and density 50. And the main reason for that is because I don't want it too strong and I don't want it too crazy. So I usually keep it around 166, about 100 to maybe 200. And if it has to be higher, it's because the whole face needs to be moved. So I'm going to go down just a little bit to maybe 100. The more you zoom in, the better. So you can accurately see her facial features, and then go ahead and then use the tool. And if you feel like you're struggling, you can always come back down, lower the opacity, and just compare them as you go back and forth. So I just kind of keep it like that. I look at the eyelids, see if I can match the eyelids around. Okay. Sometimes I don't worry about the eyelids too much. I kind of keep the eyelids from the original. It's just personal preference here. Okay, then we're going to go back up. And then you're going to go to size. And then you're going to go back up. And this is the part that might be a little bit more crucial, because your eyebrows are not adjusted. So the reference eyebrows are not adjusted to it. So you might have to change them up a bit. So like I said, that's just the only bad part about it, is that I would just have to go back and forth on it. Yeah, so then once you pull the eyebrows up, then it makes it an issue for the eyes below. So like I said, just make adjustments to it, because it's gonna mess up. So then after that, I'm just gonna zoom back out, and then I'm just gonna do a preview. And you want it as accurate as possible too. You don't want to be completely off where it looks kind of weird. So you want to be as accurate as possible. And by the way, like, you see how this eye looks a little weird? You can always go in. And to fix a problem like that, you would have to make the brush smaller, or the brush tool smaller, in order to fix that problem. So yeah, like I said, it's truly up to you. So let's say I like it, because I'm just showing a preview. Then it's going to adjust it. Usually what I do is I hit the brush tool again and I rasterize it. After I'm done with that, I would hit with an eraser, and I would just kind of liquefy the ears. But in this case, I'm not going to liquefy nothing. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to erase the background of it, because I'm not looking for that. So this is what my avatar looked before. This is what it looks now. And then you can choose to sharpen it. This is just a little thing I do. I sharpen it. Then I go back in with an eraser, very light. And then I kind of play with the opacity just a bit. And I would just go back and I would kind of just touch up little parts of it. Parts that I know that may not matter. And you can always erase. And this part is a little, time consuming. It takes time to understand. But you can just go ahead and erase a little bit just to morph. And if you like the details of the last one, usually what I do is I minimize it, take a tool, and I would go back to the avatar that has the details. I would go there. I would go to filter, sharpen more, have that radiate through that photo. Since this is not always going to be 100, I'm going to have it radiate, merge down, and then since it's noticeable, then I go back again using the select tool. I forgot to mention I'm using the lasso tool, and then I go to filter and then I sharpen more, and then that's how you can get real defined details. Of course, you don't have to hit sharpen more. You could just hit sharpen once and it would just make it more lighter for you. That's another cool, neat trick to kind of just transfer in an avatar, and then you would just go in, of course, add your shadows and lighting to define her into a better looking avatar with prettier lips and all that. But this is just pretty much a good base. So then after that, and so I thought this was pretty cool to show you guys on the side. Another cool trick is, let's say, and this is my last trick, let's say you want to prep a photo for a skin, or let's say you want to get ready to make an ad, but you need to morph the photo onto the ad. And so let me show you guys right now. Let's say you have this image and it has tons and tons of shadowing, right? In order to fix that, make sure you rasterize it or keep it smart filtered. So what you could do is you go to image, adjustments, and this only happens in image. This does not happen under layer, just keep in mind. And then you're going to go all the way to shadows and highlights. It's going to automatically try to give you a default setup for how it should radiate your shadows. You don't have to do anything from there, but usually what I do is I kind of just hit it high up, and then I kind of play with the toning of it a bit, and then I kind of play with the radius a little bit. You could play with the highlights to bring them out more. I keep adjusting that. And then there's the color if you want her to be a little bit more warm, since we did take it away from the shadow. And let's say you want that. That's perfect. And I really don't mess with midtones because it's going to actually bring back that shadow. So you could just keep it at 0. Hit OK. And this is what I use for the basics of my skin creating. It's a really cool tool if you're trying to keep a skin tone overall for prepping. This is a really good way to prep your images before you use them for an ad or making skin.